Hello, hello there, my crafty friends. It is Candy here from sweetstamper.com. I was unavoidably delayed. We had lunch guests coming today and we could not schedule it any other day. Some dear friends of ours are moving out of state and it's a young couple. Hey Barbara, I'm glad you're here. The young woman, Rebecca, actually lived with us during college, and she's like a daughter to us, and they're moving out of state. They have a young baby, and this was the only time they could come. Hey, Jackie, I'm glad you're here. But they got delayed getting here because he was doing paperwork to leave his job. He's transferring to another state, and so this was just the only time I could do it, and I thought that I could get to you by 2:30, but hey, I've got people here waiting. So that's really nice. I'm glad that you knew that I wouldn't just ditch you. So if I ever can't be here, I will let you know. But if I'm going to be delayed like that, I do try to put just a little notification out there so that, so that you're aware, because we have a little community here and we enjoy seeing each other. Hey, Darlene, I'm glad you're here. So we have simple and stepped up stamping today, and probably because I'm late in coming, that I will probably dive right into stamping here as soon as I can see, get my computer where I can see comments, see what's happening, yay, and then I can jump right in. Okay, I've got a fun project for you today, so I think we're going to have a good time with some stamping, and I'm going to show you a little bit of review, and then we are going to head into our simple and stepped up stamping today. So here we go. Okay, heading down, here we go. Okay, let's see how the view is, and then we'll see if I need to make any adjustments before I start stamping. I'm going to be using Bumblebee today. And Bumblebee is one of our new In Colors, and it's the last one in my color club. So, hey Marlene, I'm glad you're here. So if you're in my color club, I know I'm a little bit late in getting color club out, but we're heading that way. So I was going to be sending an email out and getting everybody caught up to speed on that. Okay, I think we're pretty good. I think that everything is showing pretty well. Okay. So just a little bit of a review as to where we have been. So this was simple and stepped up last Thursday. Thursday is when we do a simple card, usually kind of stamped ink and paper and maybe an embellishment. And then we step it up, and that's what we do on Thursdays. And then Tuesdays, we do some kind of tips, tricks, and techniques. And so we took the same stamps on Tuesday, and we did a little bit of a technique tutorial with Emboss Resist. So that's where we've been, and kind of following a little bit of a theme here, I'm going to pull in some Bumblebee cardstock. I will say that Bumblebee is a lovely yellow, and I tend to like to use it with very vanilla versus Whisper White. So that's what I'm going to do today, and I'm also going to feature my very first time to be using this stamp set. This is in our mini catalog, otherwise known as the holiday catalog. I still keep calling it that. But it's actually called the August to January, I think, August to December, mini catalog. And I'm going to find the page for you really quick on this coffee stamp set. It's super cute, called Press On. It's a $22 red rubber stamp set, and it is here on page 68 in the catalog. So I wanted you to kind of see, if you're looking to add this to your collection, which I highly recommend it, I wanted to show you. I love the fact that you have the takeout coffees that we all use now, that Starbucks kind of started, but everybody does them now. Every time you have a hot drink, it's in one of these. And then you have this cute mug as well. And then you have all these little guys, kind of the grande lattes or whatever, specialty coffees. This is a separate stamp. And so you have that kind of I don't know, you can use it as kind of like sun rays. You can use it as like steam, as just kind of a highlight. And then you have some coffee beans and a heart. I love the greetings on here, and I love the fact, look at all the mixed fonts. So some of these are kind of fancy scripty fonts, and then you've got some really kind of classic all cap fonts. So let's just look at those. We got a cup of thanks, really cute. Coffee is always a good idea. And then we have all you need is confidence and lots of coffee. That's a super cute, very clever. And then hope your day is full of perks. So really kind of all occasion, you could do anything with these. And there's some great samples in here of doing a little coffee gift in one of the new tins. And then a couple of, well, here's the other new tin. And then a very cute card. And of course, these could easily be translated into cards. So let's look at a simple card today. I'm not going to be using a piercing mat. This is what I use when I'm stamping with photopolymer stamps. But this is a red rubber cling stamp set. So let's see where we go. And I'm going to, let's just go ahead and do our card base first. Again, this is Bumblebee, one of our new In Colors. And I am going to stamp my coffee cup, and I'm going to, when I'm going to be stamping, I like to go ahead and get everything on blocks that I'm going to be using, because I don't want to have to stop and do that once I start creating. So Jill, oh, I'm glad this is on your wish list. So I will tell you, I actually had I entered a card contest and I won, and this was my prize. And this was on my wish list too, but I had not purchased it. Believe it or not, I do not have every stamp in the holiday catalog. So I was awfully excited when this came in. So I am going to use the blends on this. So I'm going to ink it up with my Tuxedo Black ink. And actually, before I do that, I'm actually going to, I want to get that in the center, but I also want to make sure that my greeting is right over here on the very edge. And just in case I'm not on the edge, I've got a little bit of a halo there, so I'm just going to flip that over. I'm going to not press quite so hard this time. You know, you get halos sometimes with red rubber stamps. It's typically, got another one. So let's see, which one should I use? Or do I have a spare? Oh, look at there, I have a spare. Let's clean the stamp, because it's probably the problem. How you like that? I'm picking up a little bit of ink on this edge here. And so that typically comes from rocking your stamp, not pressing straight and then lifting. And that's partly because of the angle that I'm at. So let's see if I can do a little better job this time. Press and lift, voila. So that's the correct technique, not what I was doing before. So let's go ahead and clean this so I don't get ink on myself. And then I'm going to go ahead and ink this up again. Even though it has ink, I want to make sure that my ink is nice and wet. And I'm going to put that right about the center. And then I'm going to color it just a little bit with some blends. And I'm going to use, I can't think of the name of it now, cinnamon cider. And I'm going to put that right across the center as my little hand protector, hand warmer thing. And anytime I'm going to color in kind of a large area like this with the blends, I do like to outline it first. And you actually want to stay just inside the black line, because if you go all the way to the edge, it can bleed out because it's an alcohol marker. And that is going to be the center of my little coffee mug or coffee cup little protector. And then I'm actually going to come in here with light crumb cake and just do a little bit of the cup, because it's going to give it some definition. And also, I think it also kind of helps it look like one of those recycled cups. So this could be, you could also use not the bronze, the ivory. If you don't have the crumb, I will tell you I'm looking to replace my crumb cake blends because my other tip is very, very kind of, I don't have very much left in it, the ink, but they're actually on back order at the moment. So you can order them, but they are on back order. And I'm just gonna come here and do a little bit right there. It just kind of gives it a little bit of depth. So now I'm going to come in with a little bit of cinnamon cider coffee beans, and I'm going to do a little bit here, and I'm going to turn my stamp so that it has a little bit of variation, and just have my little coffee beans going like that. And that is all, that's all the stamping I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do though is I could just layer this on here. It's a 4 1/4, I think, by 2 1/2 piece, but I'm going to give it just a little bit of an accent there. And I'm putting early espresso underneath like so. And that is really all I'm going to do. I take it back. I'm going to do one more thing. This is a Stampin' Ink and paper card. And I am going to take the little heart and I'm going to put that on my cup. Let me find, I had a little scrap of very vanilla cardstock. Do I still have it? Oh, you know what? I'll use this because I mucked up this piece. And I'm actually going to make the heart from cherry cobbler. And the reason I decided to use cherry cobbler is because I went to my color coach, and my color coach told me that cherry cobbler is the red to pair with early espresso. So that I will have to fussy cut, which will not take me but just a moment. So let's see what I can do here. I'm going to cut it out. You know, the key with fussy cutting is to move your cardstock and not your scissors. So I'm just going giving it a little bit of a frame. Typically, fussy cutting, it looks better if you have a little bit of a frame around it and not trying to get all the way to the edge. So that also makes things a lot simpler. And there we go. That is going, look at the difference that makes. I mean, that is just Stampin' Ink and paper. Now, I could, if I wanted to, before we even step it up, I could take a little bit of ribbon and I could run it right down here. So I think I'm going to, and one of the reasons I'm going to is, you know, Stampin' Up runs, or maybe I'll just do a few little coffee beans down here. Stampin' Up runs what they call a simple stamping challenge every month, and we can be in a drawing when we use the hashtag simple stamping. So the simple stamping contest, as it were, this month, or sharing, is to use Stampin' Ink and paper plus ribbon. So that is what I'm going to do. I have my new seal. I just put a new refill in here. Now, what I'm going to do here is, this is a brand new refill, is I'm going to actually do this on the frame, and I'll show you why. I opted to not do a full frame on this. Oh, I guess I could just go ahead and put that down. I didn't want there to be a frame around the whole piece, so that gives me just a nice little bit there. In fact, let's just put some dimensionals behind there. You know, for the most part, when I stamp with you guys here, I have not made the card previously. I've got some ideas. I may have kind of played with the focal image a little bit, but I typically haven't put it actually together until I get on camera. So that gives me a little bit of opportunity to make some changes, and I think it also contributes to the sense that we're stamping together. It's a live stamp. So it is you know, I haven't practiced this and coming in and doing like a performance for you. This is live, it's organic stamping. So that, I think, is actually going to be a nice little addition there. And let's see if maybe instead of running that all the way around there, maybe I'll just do a little ribbon tab. I think that might be a better fit because I think running the ribbon all the way up there is probably going to be too much of a good thing. So I think I'm just going to do a little bit of cinnamon cider ribbon, and I'm just going to do a little loop or a little tab, depending on how you want to. And what I'm going to do, what I recommend for this, is that you use mini glue dots. You know, glue dots are really the best way for us to adhere ribbon. They always adhere ribbon. You know, sometimes I want to use a shortcut and use my seal, and it works on most ribbons. I will say this is real, has a lot of texture to it, and it does not stick well with seal. But a lot of our thinner ribbons do. But I will say you always get a really good stick with a glue dot. So there's our simple card. Super, super simple. I am going to just add this layer to the inside. Oh, I forgot. There's my little heart. And you know what I'm going to do with that? I'm also going to use a mini glue dot because I don't want to try to put seal on that. Too fussy. Such a small area. So that is going to be right there. And I think this is a great encouragement card. Press on. It's a little pun. And press on with whatever it is that's challenging you right now. Press on with your virtual learning, which you had hoped was going to be in a classroom. You know, we've got our college students that are, some of them are on campuses, but it's not quite what they were expecting with regard to campus life. And some of our students are doing other types of learning, and it's not really what they had planned for the year. So, yeah, that's where I'm going, Gail. I'm going to put some beans on the inside here. I think we'll go here, and we'll go here, and maybe we'll go with one more. So that is super cute. Now, something I hadn't thought of until just now. Let's see, how would it look if we did a little bit of blender pen and just colored those beans in? That's kind of a fun element. What do you think? Do we like it with or without? So here's without and here's with. Because if we like it with, I'll do it on the front of the card as well. I kind of like the clean look of this. This will be fine for the inside, but I think I'm leaning towards not doing my blender pen on the outside, just leaving it on the inside and giving those light roast coffee beans like so. Let's see how we put our seal on the inside. I'm getting the hang of my seal and doing really well with it. And I think I want the larger number of beans on the bottom. You know, there's a saying, you know, you're full of beans. When you say to a kid that's being silly, you're just full of beans. To think about that, especially some of our big kids now that are college students and beyond. So there is my simple card. Now, I'm really pleased with this. I think it's one of my better simple cards. So, but now we're going to step it up a little bit. So let's see what we can do with the same elements and then add a little bit of flourish by adding a few more elements. So let's see how we get on. Let's once again take our piece of very vanilla cardstock and let's stamp our greeting, which is here. I was a very good student and I put it away where it belonged. So that's going to go right down here. Got it right the first time. Didn't press too hard, didn't rock it. And now I am going to bring my coffee cup and stamp it right in the middle, right about there. And then I am going to put a little bit of Stampin' Blends on there. I'm going to color it in with 2 blends. I'm going to use and I'm actually using the dark cinnamon cider on this. And, you know, you could make this kind of any color, but I thought this kind of went really nicely. I'm wanting kind of a warm vibe. And I'm very much in fall mode. I've got my fall holiday decor basket is coming out of the garage today, the tub, and I am going full on. Grandkids are coming tomorrow. When they come in, I want them to see the holiday decor on the table, and my little fall banner that I made however many years ago, cute little fall banner I made with some Stampin' Up products. You know, a lot of the home decor I've made with Stampin' Up things, you know, some of it you're going to kind of use one year and then move on, but a lot of those pieces I've just used year after year. So I don't know if any of you guys remember when we had the vinyl banner pieces. Those were a lot of fun. I did a great fall class with them, and I actually did Christmas classes with them. Did a lot of banners. The fall banner has been the one that's really lasted through the years here, and it's just kind of been a favorite. So yeah, you can see you wouldn't typically have to be coloring quite that much with your light crumb cake, but like I said, it's beginning to go on me. Okay, now I'm not going to adhere that to its little accent piece yet. I just gotta look at that. I just smudged it. How did I do that? Phooey. I'm going to add some here, and then I'm going to take my ribbon and do something a little bit different. So let's close that up. Let's measure some ribbon, and let's do this over here. And I think what I want to do, you know, when you want to have a ribbon and you want to have a little bit of a knot and a little bit of interest, but you don't have a lot of room for it to have like ribbon tails, you can do a really trim kind of a tailored knot by putting the knot in the ribbon before you put it down. So that's what I'm going to do this time. Use a little larger piece of ribbon, and let's put it down with mini glue dots. Let's make sure we've got it the right, yeah, let's do it that way. And everybody's really quiet. I knew I was going to have a smaller group here today, and a lot of people probably thought I just wasn't going to be here, but I made it. And I know there will be, I know like Velma had told me earlier that she's probably going to have to watch the replay because she was dealing with doctor's appointments, and she is on her husband is on our prayer list for our team. We have a prayer thread every week with prayer requests so that we can support people that way, and I'm really grateful for it. Now, this is all looking pretty much the same, but look what's going to happen if I put a piece of Designer Series paper under there. Whoa! Look at the change. I think that's a great way to step up this card. And I do still have this little piece of Early Espresso, and it's an accent on 2 ends. It frames 2 ends, but not the others. So I think that's looking pretty cool. Now, you know, I did already put this down. I was going to tell you there was one other option I thought about adding. But let's get our heart going next. And we got to put the heart down. Let's see. Here we go. Let's get our heart. And I will say, you could also even do this, and you could still get away with that. I would probably put a blue heart here. So tell me what you guys think. Is that too busy, or do you like all that color? Or are you liking more tone on tone with the yellow sunflowers and the bumblebee? So that is the question. So while you're kind of weighing in on that, I think I'm going to put this down with dimensionals. The other thing I had thought about when I was digging around my drawer, I thought, you know, I could do this instead of the cinnamon cider ribbon. Looks totally different. Oh, there's a bunch of, oh, I hadn't moved my comments. Okay, here we go. So everybody's like, welcome Diana, and Betty's here, yay. I totally missed you guys. And okay, so Jackie likes the ribbon tab and the coffee theme we're liking, and Crystal's here, yay. Okay, so I need a little bit of opinion here. And I know it's hard because I've already stuck this down, which I shouldn't have stuck. So let me unstick so that we can have a true design input here. So do we want to go with the sunflowers here, or do we want to go, well, they're all sunflowers, tone on tone, or do we want to just really add a lot of color and do it this way, in which case I would add a blue heart to my coffee instead of the red heart. So tell me about which side of the designer paper you want. And then I also thought that I would run the ribbon larger piece here, but I could even do the vanilla. It's kind of more subtle, but it's also a little bit more dressy because it has the gold edges on it. So I could do this. Oh, yikes. I just finally got all of my comments going and Facebook just bumped me off and said we're having trouble playing this video, which is hopefully not affecting you guys. I mean, it's a sunny, clear day. We have great weather. There's no reason for there not to be a really good signal. Oh, good, I'm still on. Okay. Okay. So let me just pull the comments up here and see. Okay, we've got cinnamon cider ribbon. Tone on tone is getting the, okay, so that one's going to be an easy one. I kind of figured that those sunflowers with all the color was probably a little bit much, because it really kind of has, this kind of has an understated, almost an elegant feel to it, I think. So let's go tone on tone. This really brings it into fall with these, you know, the dark sunflowers. And then I am going to go like so. And let's go ahead and get our red heart there. While we're thinking about ribbon, I could go with this ribbon here, or I can go with this ribbon here. So, so we've got, hey Cynthia, I'm glad you're here as well. I think we've got cinnamon ribbon as the vote. This is probably a little bit too fancy. A little bit too fancy for what we're doing here. Where did my, here's my cherry cobbler. So again, for anybody who came on later, cherry cobbler is the recommended red to go with early espresso. So that's kind of how I came to that design decision to use the cherry cobbler, which is a great deep red. It's actually a really good red for fall because it's so deep and has such, it's warm, so it goes really well with your reds and your, I mean, not your reds, it's already red, with your oranges and your yellows and your browns and, you know, those warm colors that we typically associate with fall. It goes really well, really red. It goes really well with greens. So yeah, cherry cobbler is a really good red. It's been around for a long time. Although cherry cobbler originally, many years ago, was an in color. You know, many of our in colors end up coming back years later, or sometimes just a year or two later, as a core color because they become just a part of the way that we craft. And so then we need to be able to utilize it more. And that's what we do. I'm still messing with comments. Sorry, folks. Okay, let's get this down with mini glue dots and this down with mini glue dots, and then we're just about ready to roll with this. So the only changes that I've made are I have added a piece of designer series paper, which definitely added, I think it made, for one thing, I think it definitely makes it more feminine. My first card, I think, is a great masculine card. And we're always looking for guy cards, so it's actually really useful. And then that is going to go like so. And I'm going to, once again, pop this up on dimensionals and put this down flat. So let's go ahead and stick this down like so. I can see your comments now once again. So this I'm putting right in the center, and you can see I think it's a 3 3/4 inch width, so it doesn't go all the way to the edge. And then this does, so you have just a little bit peeking out here and here, which is just a nice way to change things up a little bit and not have that. It's not quite so matchy with everything having a perfect mat around it. I have, there we go, dimensionals. And so let's pop this up. And then we're going to add just 1 or 2 other little details as we step this up. I'm going to go right over that ribbon to really hold it down, because I definitely don't want that flying up. This is going to go for a single stamp if I were going to mail it. Of course, you could tuck a little Starbucks gift card inside here if you had a mind to. So that would be a really fun way to, actually a really good encouragement card to a school teacher to press on this year, and then put a little Starbucks card in there. Okay, let's see, let's get this right on here like so. You know what, I need to stand up because I can't, sometimes it's hard to center something unless you're standing directly over it, and then all is seen much more clearly. Okay, now I've got one other little something. So here's my original and here's my stepped up. And the one other little thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add one of these gold gems. And I think what I'm going to do is, I think less is more. I could have these just kind of raining down the card, and maybe that's what I should do. The other thing I could do is just put one right there. I could just do the one. And I could even do that one and still do a couple more. So I could do like here and here. What do we think? I kind of like, maybe I do like 3 of them instead of just the one. So you guys tell me what you think. Is there a chart? Yes, Diana, I will post it again. I have posted it a couple of times on here, but I will post it again. It's a color coach that Stampin' Up! Provides for us. It's a PDF document. And you know what? Let me just go, I'll show you the way that I do mine for ease of use, just to kind of give you a clue so that once I post it, the way that I would recommend that you use it. Now, we're all different, and some people like to put these in a book to be able to flip through the book. But this is the way I do mine. When you print them, they come like this, and I cut them up. They're all on 1 page or 2 pages. So like I have all my neutrals, and so I like to have them on a binder ring, a jump ring, whatever you want to call that. And you see that right there? That's the color scheme that I went with. Because So Saffron, now this is a candy thing, but I could tell you from working with it, So Saffron is the lighter counterpart to Bumblebee. So let me show you what I mean. Let me grab something else over here. I think I have handy. Let's see. Do I have it? Yeah. I actually do some what I call corporate Christmas cards and holiday cards for some of my, for some companies that I established relationship with many years ago. Some of these were initially, they were friends. Well, they're still friends, but that was kind of how my contact was with them. And so what I did was I approached them about doing like their Christmas cards for them. And those clients I still have all these years later. And even though I'm no longer growing that aspect of my business, because it really kind of took off. And when you're doing like 250 Christmas cards for a company, it can take up a lot of time. And so I was happy to continue to serve the clients that I have, but I really didn't want to expand that anymore. So all of that to say that I still have one client that does Thanksgiving cards instead of Christmas cards. And this is the Thanksgiving card that they have just ordered. So this is So Saffron with Bumblebee. So you see what I mean by it's the counterpart. It's the lighter version of Bumblebee. So that's just a candy thing. That's not on the Color Coach. But you see how I can take that information. I can look at this Color Coach and I can say, okay, that's So Saffron. I'll just use Bumblebee and have a deeper yellow. And then I'm going to use an accent of Early Espresso. But I also know, just from the way this designer series paper is set up, that this cinnamon cider looks really good with the Bumblebee, and it also looks really good with Early Espresso. So that's kind of my help for you with regard to color. I do feel that for me, color is probably one of my greatest strengths. Mess up on plenty of other things or struggle with plenty of other things, but I do feel like color is one of those things I have a really good handle on. So I like to pass on any kind of color tips and tricks I can give you. So I will definitely post this. And like I said, it's a PDF download and it will just be a big sheet. And, but then I cut them and do this way because I put my drawer over by my design center and then I can just pull one out. And I know that again, this is just the way I do my things. I like them in alphabetical order. So that way, instead of having to flip through this whole thing, I already know, well, this is Blackberry Bliss. So if I'm looking for pumpkin pie, I've got to go farther back in here. So, and you can see here is, here's one of the, this is one for the In Colors for this year. So that is, I will definitely, when I'm done here, and I go into I usually go back in and respond to the comments, and I also put a title on this so that if people are coming back in and want to watch this, they'll know what they're watching. This is the video that was posted on the 1st of October. This is simple and stepped up video featuring the press on stamp set. So that is what I have for you today. And Terry Lynn, I'm awfully glad that you are here for my live video. I was like over an hour behind schedule simply because I had guests here that I could not break away from. So Jess, I'm glad you like my cards. I honestly think, although this is simple and this is stepped up, I think that it's more like this is more masculine and this is a little bit more feminine. This is a little bit more, not fussy, but definitely more stepped up. And we ladies tend to like those details. The guys tend to like it a little bit more simple. So I would definitely give this to a guy in a heartbeat. I would give this to my grown sons. I'd give it to a male school teacher. Lots of people that I would give this to, where I definitely would give this to a woman. So you know what I forgot to do? This one I did on the inside. This one I think I'm going to do a little bit different, and I'll show you what I mean. I do have this, but when I cut my piece of designer paper, I ended up with this, and I think I'm just going to put that on there and just put that little piece of just have that little piece of, what am I looking for? Designer paper on the inside. Here we go. Just to give it a nice little, see, that's why you should keep the lid on it, the little protector, because it starts picking things up. I think, honestly, that's the reason more times than not that I end up with having to fast forward it just a little bit when I pick it up. It's because it's picked up little bits and pieces from my workstation. So I think I might have to change my habits just a little bit. Yeah. Do I want that at the top or the bottom? I think I actually want it at the top. Yeah. I think I'm going to put it at the top. So Facebook is once again not giving me comments. It stopped my video. I can't see comments. It's happened about 4 times during the broadcast today. Not sure what that's about. But you know, I will say, when you do Facebook Live, you learn to just roll with it. We just keep going. So there is also a little bit of a different inside. So this one with the coffee beans, this one with the flowers. I think they're both really nice little touches on there. So that is my simple and stepped up project for you today. I hope you like it. And again, featuring not only the pressed on stamp set, but the new In Color, which is called Bumblebee. And I'm glad you like them both, Cynthia. I do too. I would happily give either one. And everything is laid flat, except I did pop up this one layer, and it gives it a little bit of, just makes this kind of a drop shadow behind there. So that is it for today. I will love you and leave you. Hopefully you got my email news this, probably late this morning. And we have an awesome designer series paper sale going on right now, and it's going on all month long, all October. So I have a new October host code for you, and where I can give you some gifts when you make a purchase. And you do get a gift with every purchase. So every purchase you will get a PDF tutorial with typically, usually there's 8 or 10 projects. And I say usually there's 8 or 10 because I'm actually part of a tutorial group with some other leaders. And so we are a tutorial co-op. And typically there's 8, sometimes there's 10, depends on how many of us were assigned to which stamp set. So at the beginning of a catalog, the leader of the group, which is one of our $1 Million Achievers, we have a couple of $1 Million Achievers in this tutorial group. I feel really honored to be a part of the group. And then we share those with each other, and then we have those to share with our customers. And the great thing about those tutorials is that you get a broad spectrum of different styles, and everything is on there. You get step-by-step instructions, you get a color photo, you get a close-up color photo if you need that, and then you get a supply list. So I love being able to give those, and I give those to everybody who places an order, no matter the size. If you place a $50 order, you're going to get a gift as well. So, and if you place a $100 order, you get a larger gift. So that's the way I do my host code gifts. So be sure if you're placing an order that you do use a host code. Hey, Charlene, I'm glad you're here. You'll be sure to watch the replay because I'm just signing off. And I am just putting the finishing touches on my October Cards with a Twist class. I'm actually in the process, I have changed the name. I've had a card class I started like probably a year and a half ago, and it was called Saturday Card Club because I always did it on a Saturday. Well, now that with COVID, I don't do that card class live anymore. Haven't done it live for a long time. Since the beginning of this year. But that card class, I always do four designs, 2 of each. But each set of 2 has a twist. So that's why I'm going to call it Cards with a Twist. So it's a $35 class, and I run it every month. So I'm just finishing the polishing up the last couple of designs. And but I think I'm going to get to finish that today and put my video together tonight, so I will have that ready for you to see And I think we have some great fall colors again, and I think you're going to love it. So I am scrambling to get all of my classes and my events up for you, and that is what I'm going to love you and leave you with. If you are local and want to do live stamping with me, second Saturday of the month is my regular monthly card class. So back on the calendar after a 6 or 7 month hiatus. I ran it in September with great success, plenty of social distancing. People wear masks or not, up to them. And we stamped, we had a great time. And so if you're in the local area and you really want some human contact, my regular monthly card class, Simply Cards, is a good option. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I will see you here Tuesday at 2 o'clock. I will be here at 2 o'clock. Like I said, it's not very often I do something like this, but this was very dear friends and I could not break away. So I had to kind of come to you a bit later, and I know that you understand and I appreciate that so much. But I want you to know I value you, and so I will communicate with you whenever possible if there's going to be a change or a delay in the schedule. Thank you so much for being with me here today. Thank you so much. Take care, and God bless.